Todd.
Hi, Aisslinn. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm pretty well. This is probably not how you were expecting to spend Beethoven's birthday
Ooh,
year. Yeah,
definitely not.
yeah, me too.
No.
I think I was supposed to be playing a lot of Beethoven, and so were you. We were going to do a lot of it together at
Yeah,
H. Yeah,
yeah, that would have been
and
good.
yeah, those plans are postponed, not canceled. But
Good. That's positive news.
I thought in the meantime it might be nice to chat a little bit about Beethoven and what he means to you and to me. The horn is central in my perspective. From my perspective, the horn is central to one of the most special aspects of Beethoven's symphonic writing. And
Oh,
I'd
really?
ask you a little bit more about that. And my role as at H&H as concertmaster puts me in a particular position within the string section. And among many of the other things Beethoven was, he was a composer who really pushed the limits of instruments that he wrote
Absolutely.
for. So I was wondering if you
Absolutely.
could talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit in terms of the horn and what does that mean for a natural horn player? What did Beethoven demand of you and your instrument?
My goodness, everything all at once. Really, he pushed the limits in every aspect. Dynamics alone, from pianissimo to fortissimo, and with these older instruments, the actual gauge of the metal and of the instrument itself, as well as a softer sheet metal type mouthpiece. Most of the brass instruments are softer to begin with. So I wonder if that's another reason why he was asking for more and more and more. In our earliest days, stemming from a strong hunting tradition, it's believed that the horn was played with the bell straight up in the air. So no hand inside the bell and no vent holes to correct the funny sounding notes. It was up to the player's ability to bend a few questionable notes as best they could. But it's really about him and his vision and that sort of chaos he wants to bring to whatever musical moment he had in mind. And you really feel that. You feel that there's almost a reckless abandon. Whenever you're playing on a natural horn, there's this sense of freedom that's exhilarating. It's so satisfying. There's this purity of sound and warmth of colors, but there's also this terrifying aspect of I don't know if it's going to come out. I'm not sure what's going to happen, and you feel that in the dynamic range, in the actual tessitura range. The highs are really high, the lows are really low, within the same piece often. But every now and then, when he really wants to prove a point, he'll call for one of the horn players, usually the low horn, to really show off some hand technique, which was really quite advanced. Um, Thinking of the Eighth Symphony, for example, or the famous low horn solo in the Ninth Symphony. So he's really forward thinking in his use of the instrument and how he's expecting us to function within the ensemble.
That's so
Um,
interesting. And I mean, that's all. I mean, this is what I do for a living, and yet I still learn about it talking to you, someone I do it with. I guess
yeah.
I wanted to ask about these really specific things in horn because I often wonder if people don't realize what's going on back there. Forgive me if I share some of the orchestral. It's about our culture. You're
Yeah,
placed in a different part of the stage for reasons of acoustics, I believe, and also your function in the symphony. It's not because you're not important. In fact, you're
right,
so important, as is everybody else. But
right.
maybe because an audience might see the front of the orchestra first, there might be an assumption that the people at the front might be more important, and actually that's just not at all true.
Exactly.
I'm just interested to ask you about all these things that are going on back there, that because they seem quite magical to me as a violinist. And you mentioned that Beethoven asked for the hand technique, and I know you've talked about it with some of our patrons, but maybe not all of them realize what that means. What is what is he getting you to do with your hand?
The instrument operates, well, nowadays we call it a natural horn, really because the instrument operates on the principle of the naturally existing harmonic series. Now, the harmonic series is not special to the horn at all. It's not unique to us, but how we learn to manipulate the harmonic series is rather unique to us over the course of our development as a musical instrument.
So interesting. Thank you for explaining it because I mean,
Sure.
I I knew that because when I first started playing with period instruments, I knew that because someone told me that. But I was fascinated to watch the horn players I got to work with because you can't see it from my perspective on stage. I can't see that you are making notes with your hand inside the bell, and I just think that's really
Well,
fascinating.